Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back once again to the VoV network where great things are always happening. Well, it's February already in 2022, and this month at the VoV network is all about matters of the heart. We have a very interesting topic today, kind of associated with that, but it's not about romantic matters of the heart. It actually is focused on child parent relationships. And you talk about matters of the heart. Those are the people that we live, breathe, and die for every day. So we have a special guest that's going to be joining us today. Her name is Bridgit Kinney. She's going to give us some insights, some inspiration, and some ways to build better bridges for parent and teen, specifically, relationships. So stick around. Let's get into it. Well, good morning, Mina. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome. Awesome. Well, as I said, welcome back, everyone. Today's topic, we're talking about the parent teen relationship. And as we all know, those teen years can be a challenge. So we brought in a special guest from Building Bridges Mentor and Outreach Program. And Bridget has been working with teens for many, many years. Her background, she's also been a school teacher and other things. So she's in that environment all the time, listening to, talking to, relating, and having to better understand teenagers. So she's going to join us today and give us just a wealth of information and in different ways of how we can be better at two main things that really matter in the parent teen relationship: better communication and trust. And those will be going to kind of be the focuses that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to bring Bridget in, have her join us, and she'll give you a little bit more information on herself and her background.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon.
Welcome, Bridget. Thank you for taking the time today to join us. How about you give us just a little bit of background on yourself and also what the Building Bridges Mentor and Outreach Program is all about?
Absolutely. I'll start first with just introducing myself. As you said, I have a wealth of, I guess, life knowledge, so to
Hmm.
speak, on the parent and teen relationship. I'll just first say I am a mother of 5 grown children. That should be it in itself. That should be it in itself.
And you're still alive, yes.
And, and most importantly, they're still alive to tell about it. So I'm the mother of 5 grown children, the grandmother of 2 teenage, going into young adulthood, grandchildren, and so right there is a wealth of life experience and knowledge as well. I am also the founder and director of Building Bridges Mentor and Outreach Program, and what that is a program focused on empowerment, educational resources, outreach services for at-risk teens and children, as well as families that live beyond that poverty line. And so under that Building Bridges Outreach Program, we also have one of our first programs we started was the Be Beautiful Girls. Be
Oh,
Beautiful
okay.
Girls is an empowerment program for preteen girls ages 12 to 18. And the name speaks for itself. We educate those girls on just showing up as the best version of themselves and being themselves, be you. And so other than that, we are going to launch this summer in Houston the Building Bridges Outreach Program, where we encompass girls, boys, parents, and everybody in one setting. And so I am an educator. I teach special ed in the high school level. God has fixed it. So this year I am a co-teacher. So not only do I get to reteach, so to speak, I have some freedom to kind of engage with the teams on another
Mm.
level, on a social level, as well as an academic level. So I've also been a youth director for teen ministry at church. I've been a mental health clinician for youth. So I get to look at the teen in the whole realm of their life, not just the academic aspect, also the social aspect, the mental health aspect of their lives. So I get to look at the whole child. And that has been an awesome, awesome experience. I'll say that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. And this is actually perfect because I know one of your big focuses, and you just talked about the Beautiful Girls thing that you have had going for a few years, and that I think the most important piece of that for you is the be you part, right? Just truly being you. And Mina, I know you want to maybe jump in there real quick and just kind of share. That's one of the things that VOV is all about: being your true, authentic self, right?
Right.
Knowing your worth and many other things. What would you want to share on that?
First, I want to say thank you, Bridget. Thank you for the work that you do. We know we need that for our young girls. And to be in an area in Houston doing this, it's got to be tough. And we really appreciate it. And you actually have a comment. Breon Richardson is checking in. So just to let you know, so you got
Yeah,
some support out there too from your friends or family or whoever he is to you.
My son.
Yes. He can attest to the strong woman that we have on today and this whole BU movement. And thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
absolutely.
BU is really strong because with social media, as it and I won't get into the whole thing, but as social media, as strong as the influence as it is for our teens and children now, I hear, it's just very important for them to continue to, be themselves.
Right. Got a couple other people checking in. Hit him, Brian, so she can see and know that
Yeah,
she has this
I
oh,
support.
see
absolutely.
them. I see
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh
So,
my God.
welcome for those of you who have joined the session and watching us live. We greatly appreciate it. Bridget, you ready to get into the topic a little bit deeper, or how do you want to? What
Yeah,
do you want to do that?
let's get into. I just first want to say, as I said before, I've engaged with teens in all capacity, and just one thing is for certain: I never stop learning from them. I never stop learning from them, and so in my own observation and polling some of my girls, my mentees, I narrowed it down to 7 things. However, when I talk with these girls and other teens in my classroom, the questions and the discussion just kept rolling. And it went into a venting session actually, about what teens want to talk with their parents about. And so I had to say, okay, I have enough because I couldn't narrow it down. It was so hard to narrow it down to 7. So I have narrowed it down. We think teens don't want to talk because they go in their room and close the door. How was school? It was
Right.
okay, and then they just close the door. And so sometimes as parents, that's where we stop at the door closing. But they really do want to talk, and I didn't know that until I heard all these conversations coming at me about what they want to talk to their parents about. So even if they go in and close the door, go right behind them, open that door and go right behind them. Give them a minute, but go right behind them and open that door. As a parent, that's all right. If you have a door in your room, that's your right to open it up. And so I have narrowed it down to 7, so we can get right into it.
I
Awesome.
want to say, Bridget, I like how you said if they have a door. Because
Because in the
sometimes they don't have a door
No,
anymore.
because sometimes, kids will, teenagers especially, would get too so ornery that the parent would take the door off the hinge, back in the day. And now we're so tired. I don't even know if we have the energy to do that. And the way doors are
Right.
made now, I don't know if
Yeah.
we have the energy to take a door off the hinge. But, if you have a door still in your house and your teenager has a door, open that door up. Open that door up and open up conversation with them.
Yeah.
So we can
Yeah.
go right into number 1.
Very good. Well, let me bring in the presentation. We'll share that, and we'll get going.
7 things teens need parents to know. And as I said, the list went on and on and on, and I kind of captured a lot of those um, um, questions that they had and discussions they wanted to, because I want to check in with those teens some more and see how they're doing, and how we can initiate conversation with the parent, just on their behalf. So the first one is, we can go ahead with the first one.
Okay.
Being a teenager is hard. Don't minimize my feelings. I just want to say a lot of teenagers, this goes for a lot of teenagers, and especially during this COVID-19 new normal
Mm.
world we're in. Um, Sometimes our teenagers come to us with problems, situations, and we think it's a phase. We think, okay, well, that's today. Tomorrow you'll feel different. But what I've heard from some of the teenagers are, they do battle depression. They do get, they get overwhelmed. Socially, they do feel awkward. And so as a parent, we need to take thought that, okay, this could be real. Okay, I'm going through depression as an adult. I could be going through depression because I lost money, I lost a job, things are going wrong, I can't make these ends meet. But teenagers also have the same, to them, it's the same level of of issues. And sometimes we can get into the habit of saying, well, I think that's a phase they're going through. I think that's just something they're going through today. Tomorrow it'll be different. She like him today. Tomorrow she might hate him. She hate him today. Tomorrow she may like him. The grades are bad today. Tomorrow she'll feel better if she gets some more sleep. If she doesn't do this, if she doesn't do that, if he doesn't do this, he'll feel better. And so what I've heard from the teenagers that don't minimize that feeling. Those feelings are very valid. Don't blow it off. Don't call it a phase. Validate their feelings in a way that is comfortable for both of you.
Would that be kind of like acknowledging it verbally, acknowledging, saying, "Hey, I understand you're feeling whatever it is," giving them that feedback so they know, okay, she or he understands, and then going on with, okay, so what can we do? Is there anything we can do? What do
Yeah.
you want? What can I do for you?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that when we talk about just building that bridge of, as you said, the trust and confidence is really taking to heart what they're expressing and don't minimize it. I think goes a long way in
Yeah.
increasing the trust factor that you have with the teenager too.
Mhm.
Exactly. I know that from a teacher standpoint, where I am now, I've been able to engage with some of the teenagers on a personal level, not personal in my, but just them coming to me because I don't have that. I'm not instructing, so to speak, in the classroom. So when there is, I can see and I can notice when some teenagers are kind of off that day, and so I may just initiate like, "You okay?" And then they say, yeah, and then I just go back to my seat. But later on, they'll come and tell me some things and what's going on, whether it be at school or at home. And the first thing I say is, I understand.
Mhm.
I've been there. Or I know someone that just, went through that same thing. And so that we can connect on that level instead of saying, you'll be all right, just kind of pushing off. Because sometimes as parents, and this is me speaking, we don't know what to say and we don't know what we don't know. And so we don't know what to say, and it may be uncomfortable. And that's why I say when it's comfortable, whatever way is comfortable for both of you. To when you want to reach out to that teenager, whatever is comfortable for you to validate their feelings instead of pushing it off as you'll be okay. Go in your room, go to sleep. You shouldn't have been
Yeah.
on the phone. You shouldn't have been this. You shouldn't have did that. Validate that feeling and don't minimize it.
And in your example, that's what you did because you said, "Are you?" You asked if they were okay, recognizing that, yeah, you have something going on, and it gave them the open door to come in and talk to you. That's great.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
very true.
We can go on to the second point. And I don't want to get through these really fast. So if you have any input, please um, chime in. Um, the second one, and it kind of goes in line with the first one. When I come to you with a mistake, don't yell at me. I feel bad enough. And I'll speak as a parent. If a teen, young adult, however, comes to you with this, it's hard to say. It's hard to not first want to say, "This is what I know." So in my instance, it'd be the way I told you.
Yeah.
I told you. That's the last thing they want to hear because they know that you told them, and they know that they know, but they
Hmm.
feel bad enough.
Hmm.
I Instead of yelling, show them some level of understanding at that point, right there at that point. This is normalized, letting the mistake be a lesson. Then this mistake be a lesson and talking through what that lesson is. And then discipline because you can't, is there consequences, good or bad, right? So you can't, put away the discipline. But let's go to what that lesson was, and what can we do, moving forward, instead of, our first instinct would be like, well, I told you, if you went out, if you went there, this was gonna happen. I told you that.
Yeah.
Yes, the old "I told you so," right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's normal for us because we're human, right? And so the first thing is that I told you, why you okay, so but that we don't hear the mom, dad, I'm coming to you
Mhm.
with this mistake. I'm
Mhm,
coming to you. Not
Right.
that you found it out, not that somebody told you or you heard it.
Right.
I'm coming to you with
Yes.
this mistake.
mhm,
And I'm seeing one of the messages, they're necessary. It's less
Yeah.
mistakes are necessary for learning to take place. So let this be a learning experience, and let's see what the lesson is. Because you can't say, well, the lesson into this is that you don't need to be going da 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 da, and you don't need to be doing da da da, right? The
Right.
lesson, you ask them, what is the lesson?
Hmm.
Because
that's
you want
correct.
to be real clear that we both know what the lesson is. Not what you told me the lesson was, 10 days later. You told me the lesson was, let's be real clear what the lesson is in this. And
And,
then,
that's the key, I think, is let the learning that really comes from it needs to come from their side of the fence, not your side of the fence as a parent, right? And
right,
so you actually have to you're more of the guide in the process
Hmm.
and then the lecturer, right? Because that's the thing we wanna do is we wanna jump on and become that lecturer, right? Get on our soapbox and blah, 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 blah. But we need
Hmm.
to just kinda guide them in the learning that they are going to get from bumping their head, is the old term we used to use. So, okay, hey, what was that like? What did you learn from that? If you had a chance to do it again, what would you do differently? Those kinds of things, right?
right.
And
It,
what I'm, oh, sorry, go ahead.
you can't,
What I really like about this point, what you make about this point is that, from other students or other teenagers, they're hearing this is the outcome of what they get yelled at. They already feel bad enough. So they think that when they tell you, which is really hard for them to do it, to come to you and tell you about their mistake, that you're going to be that person to say, to yell or make them feel bad, right? So when you do be that accepting person that says, "Okay, this happened. What are we gonna do? What was your what was your learning experience from this? What happened?" And they're shocked, they're surprised, but it opens the door for them to do it more in the future. Okay, I made a mistake, but I can trust my mom or my dad or my friend or whoever it is to be there for them. So yeah.
Mhm.
and I just want to first, I want to make a disclaimer. I learned this as years went on. I have a couple of children on here right now. They may go back in memory and say, well, that's not what you did.
I remember, right?
That's not how I remember it going. However, hindsight is very much 2020.
Yes,
And
yes.
and so this is what I learned throughout the years. I'm hoping that I
Yeah.
did portray some of these steps, but if I did not, I learned them over the years, and now
Please.
that I can teach and do the same things with my grandchildren and teach my children how to be effective parents to their teenagers.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
And
so at school, and even in my organization with my girls, whenever something has happened, they tend to not want to tell me what happened.
Mhm.
And all I need is a couple of words, and I already have created the situation. I already know what happened. So I've lived long enough and experienced so much that you really can't fool me or make or shock me, really.
Right.
And so one of my students, she said she was crying, and she came to me crying. So I knew she wanted me to ask her a question. So I said, well, what's wrong? And she said, you're going to be so disappointed in me. You're going to be mad. You're going to yell at me, And I said, well, what happened? And she gave me a couple of words. So I already knew what happened. But I let her talk it out. I wanted her to
Yeah.
talk it out. So then she could hear herself and hear what she did and hear
Mhm.
the mistake. And then she can gather that information and then determine what the lesson was.
Right.
mhm,
So I said, she gave me a little bit, and I said, and then what happened? And then she gave me some more, and I said, and then what happened? And then she gave me some more. I said, and so then what happened? And then she gave me all of it. I said, so, okay, so what was the lesson? And she looked at me like, well, you're not gonna say I told
Right.
you you know
Right.
better. You
Yeah.
know, she looked at me like you're not gonna say you know better. I said,
Right.
so what was the lesson in that? And I'm not the parent, so I'm sure
Right.
I'm a little bit calmer than the parent would be because she told me how her parents' response was, and I'll tell you what I told her about her parents' response. And I said, so what was the lesson? And then she started giving me, some lessons or whatever in that. And I said, okay. And so how can you, could you have done differently? Than what will you do differently? Because we can always talk about what we could have did, but we need to know what we will do
Mhm.
differently, because it'll come back around, right? Because if we don't learn
Right.
a lesson once, it's bound to, and that's for adults as well, it's bound to come back around if we don't
Yeah.
learn it the first time. It's bound to come back. So we talked through it. Now, of course, she was upset because she was already punished and her phone was taken away and all these things happened. But that was the discipline that had to come with the lesson learned. It's a consequence, right? And so I told her, she said, well, my mom's going to yell. And I said, well, she may. I said, but she loves you and she's scared. And so in yelling, we have to start thinking about being kind of connecting with our teens on a human level. Like, we're both human, we both have these feelings, and so being a
Mhm.
little vulnerable, if you will, and
Mhm.
while
Mhm.
we're doing this. And so they feel bad enough. And in so many words, my girls said this over and over in different words. We already feel bad, and we already ashamed, and we already this. And then if I come to you and you yell at me, it's gonna make me worse. And then it's the combativeness that comes with that yelling too. Because if I'm yelling at you, then in some way you're gonna want to yell at me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then there we are. We have let the main reason stop being the main reason of the conversation.
Right.
Correct.
Because of course it's
Absolutely.
gonna go into something else. Well, that's because I be telling you to wash dishes, and you don't never, because that's why I be punishing you when you be washing when I tell you to wash dishes. Now we done got off track. We done forgot about the whole thing they came to me about, and now we're talking about washing dishes. And
Right.
when
Right.
you didn't wash dishes, this is what I
Yeah.
said.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
we have to make it be the main thing. And so when they come to you with a mistake, as red and as hot as you feel on the inside,
Oof.
because I've raised 5 different personalities, and I'm still relatively sane. As as red and hot as you feel on the inside, don't yell. Let that first thought be, don't yell,
Mhm.
because they feel bad
Breathe.
enough. Even though they coming to you in a sassy way, or they coming to
Yeah.
you with their hands folded or their eyes rolled, or they're ready because they're ready to hear what you got to say. They're like, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Right.
They
Yeah.
feel bad enough.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
come in with their armor already on, right? Expecting
Right.
this huge outlash, right? And that's why when you were talking about the conversation you had with the young lady, and she's like, "Wait, all you're doing is asking questions. You're not saying I told you so," and this, that. So it you kind of have to disarm them, in all honesty, and that's kind of what you did in going through that process. So
Right. And
that's
you
an important
also
piece.
have to disarm yourself. You need to take a minute. If you need to tell them, hold on, let me go in the bathroom right quick. I'll be right back. Or let me go in the other room to get something. I'll be right back. Or let me go put my phone away. I'll be
Yeah,
right
I have to
back.
go pour myself some more coffee. I'll be
Yeah,
right.
I'll be right back. Even if you have to disarm yourself so that you can get to that level with them, then I think that's a is a practice. I mean, it's a practical practice basically, because you want to unarm yourself because you're ready. Like, I can do
Right.
this. Right now, I've been waiting to take that phone away. That goes to the next one, but you have to unarm yourself as well, just so they can see. Because she was like, "You're not supposed to tell me everything that I should have been doing," or "You're not." But I wanted her to walk through that on her own, because this is her journey, his journey. I want him to walk through that on his own so he can remember and then tell me the lesson so that he won't have to, or she won't have to repeat that lesson again. And she told me, I didn't tell her. So it wasn't my lesson that you was trying to learn. It was your
Mhm.
own.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
number 3,
All right.
man, now this is not going to go well with teenagers. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
This may not go well with your teenager at all. And don't say Miss Kinney told you. I will say this. I will say this, in hearing the girls vent, and then hearing what they're in the and even my boy students what they're venting about, that electronic has a lot to do with it. That electronic has a lot to do with it. Now, especially when you notice some unfamiliar actions with your teens or some weird behavior or any behavior that is not the norm,
Mm-hmm.
take the electronic away. And I say that because um, some teenagers have this thing about pride and they develop it socially through social media. That is like a big hit with teenagers right now, social media. And when they're in a space where they're depressed or they're acting, like just the behavior is kind of off and you're noticing they're answering back in a different way, and they left the house one way, they came home another way, especially if they came home another way. Take the electronic away. And I'm talking about all of it. I'm talking about even the games. The reason why is, and they will be so mad about this,
Yes, they
but
will.
they need a quiet space in their head.
Correct.
They need a quiet, and they may not, and they don't know it. I'm not gonna say may not know it. They don't know it. They
Mm-hmm.
fill themselves up with all these things that happen. I have seen fights with teenagers, arguments with teenagers, arguments with each other at 7:30 in the morning. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why are you so mad with another person at 7:30 in the
7:30 in the
morning?
morning.
Like, what did y'all talk about before 7:30? Social media.
Mm-hmm.
Social media. That night, that morning. So they've already had developed a behavior or this on guard presentation that they're gonna, when they get to school, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Hence the fights.
Right.
But when you see that behavior, when you see those different actions after, when they come home or that day, take that electronic away. Take those electronics away. And not as a punishment. And you can communicate it the way you see fit for your child, for your teenager, but just to let them have a quiet space. This is not a punishment. I just want you to have some quiet in your head. In your head.
Yeah.
Because we have teens that use the phone all day long in the class, and they're not texting. They're texting each other, but they're on social media constantly. Social media
Mm-hmm.
constantly. Social media.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm old school, so I only do Facebook and Instagram. But whatever else they're on, they're doing that constantly. So that is very effective in just in their thought process about not just about other people, but about themselves.
It is. It is. And there's so much, especially with Instagram. I mean, all of the social media out there. That's where they're looking for their validation and their self esteem and many other things. Instead of looking for it more internal, right? And what's truly between the ears, and that's what you're saying is giving them an opportunity to refocus on self, right?
Right.
Without all of that stimulus coming from Lord knows where, and from people that you really don't even know. Maybe they just know your persona that you have, or your Instagram name kind of thing, and that's all that they know about you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be very detrimental to just your mental state. And as you said, they come in first thing in the morning already wound up because they've had
Ready.
this interaction going,
Ready.
overnight or first thing in the morning on social media. And again, we can't knock social media totally because we're on
No,
it right now.
'cause we use it.
Uh, there are certain
Right.
parts of it that you do have to be careful about what you consume or how much you consume. And we have a video specifically talking about that. Be careful what you consume because
Mhm.
that's what you can become. And just be very, very aware of that. So
And
Definitely.
let's face it, when it comes to adults, when we're in a bad mood or we're having a bad day or something's happened with us and we're on social media, we know we see enough negativity to even make us feel even worse. There are times when I'll be like, okay, social media down. The same way we're saying for the teens, like you got to put that separation between you and social media, sometimes even TV. I might even go and find something funny intentionally, some comedy to watch because I'm already there. I don't need more. And I can imagine how teens, because as an adult where I've experienced so much more, it's hard for me sometimes. So I could see how that could be valid.
Right. And they don't know enough to say, well, you know what, I need to put my, and we can, right? We have that experience. I could put my phone down because that's
Right.
okay, that's enough for today.
Right.
That's enough for today. But they don't have that judgment. So we as parents have to say, hey, and so in the schools, in the classroom, we put it up just so they can focus. It's very distracting. Everything is very distracting on the phone. So put it away so you can focus. But at home, we need to put it away so they can focus on themselves. What are they feeling? They don't know how to do that. We have to make that judgment for them. Put it away, and they're gonna be so mad. They're gonna throw tantrums. You're just trying to, not let me talk to my friends. You're just trying. Yeah, I am. I need right now. I need you to breathe. I need you to take that phone away. And I will say none of my teens told me this because I know they're going to say, well, I didn't tell you that. But it is very healthy. Emotionally, socially, it's very healthy to be in a space where you just can't hear anything. You can't see anything. I'm speaking from an adult standpoint. It is very healthy where you can just take all those things, and they won't do that, so we have to do it for them.
Absolutely.
And like I said, they're gonna have a tantrum at first. Let that be my end talk. They have a tantrum at first. And I mean, what else they're gonna do? They can't do anything else. They're not, so let them have the tantrum. But they'll thank you later. They will thank you later.
Absolutely.
Number 4. Man, I'm so big on this. That is what I teach my girls, to love themselves in order to love others. When teens hit that puberty and that sexually inquisitive stage, as a parent, our first reaction immediately is like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to keep them away from boys. I'm gonna have to keep them away from girls.
Lock them in the closet.
Whatever our plan is, to keep them from any representation of sex, because that's the first thing we go into, especially when they hit. I hear is younger, but when they hit 13 and older, we start thinking, okay, I need to start keeping them away from this and whatever. But if we teach them how to themselves first, the value of learning that and who they are is also, and the huge responsibility for in having sex and love, right? It definitely decrease the need to, love other people to validate, like Bryan said, to validate themselves, to reach out to other people to validate themselves. So he can like me so I can validate myself. So she can like me, so that validates me. We need to start at a very young age now. To teach our children how to love themselves. And more importantly, that loving yourself will kind of catapult to you being able to love others, because we out there just hating ourselves and trying to love other and loving other people. Well, I mean, where do you do that at, right?
Right.
We can't do that. So if we take the steps, and it's strategic, right? Because before I even started these organizations, Oprah was my best friend, right? And so I had to strategically learn how to love myself. Like I just couldn't learn one day. I read these rules. Okay, I love me. It's a plan. It's a plan that we have to, and just think if we teach our young ladies and young men too, because sometimes we put it all on the young women to learn how to love themselves, and not that many, it's a small percentage are out there showing men, young boys, how to love themselves too. So if we take the initiative to teach them at a young age how to love themselves, how to value themselves, how to take care of themselves, not how to dress yourself, not so the boy look or the girl look or the people on social media, oh, she know how to dress, he know how to do this, so that you can love yourself, and then you will learn how to love others, and that takes a long time. So by the time you learn how to love yourself, then you'll be at the age, right? And you'll know how to love others.
Right.
I want to jump in there, because that's one thing that we harp a lot about here on the VoV network is talking about self-care, which is all part of that whole thing, right? Caring for self, respecting yourself, showing love and appreciation,
Mhm.
self development for yourself, continued growth, and all of that is important.
Mhm.
And we have a video specifically talking about self care, why it's
Mhm.
important. So it's really hard. And I mean, I know you've said this many times, to
Mhm.
love, have an appreciation, or even respect or gratitude for something else, someone else, whatever the situation might be. If you don't have it for yourself, it
Mhm.
kind of starts with self to begin with. So, Bridget, this I think is one of the key things to laying a foundation, especially at, like you said, young girls and young boys who need both, because you build on this for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
So
The
it
rest
is
of
it
their
is
life.
kind of the ground floor of everything.
Right.
But I don't think we ever really see, I really like this, Bridget, because I don't think we ever we're talking to adults mostly when we do ours. So yeah, it's kind of it's what do you call it? Why is the word escaping me? Oh well, anyway, I don't know why it's escaping me, but we talk about taking care of yourself, putting yourself first, and all this stuff, but we don't ever really put the word love
Mm,
necessarily. Love
mhm,
might come up in the conversation, but it's not really. We don't really stress it, and it's
mhm,
really important to do that when they're young, stressing to love themselves. Yeah, I really like that, and then loving others, right?
mhm,
Because, but you already said it all. You know,
Right. And when we've talked about this in a group session, and I say, what do you love about yourself? I
mm,
mean,
great
it's
question.
hard for some girls to come up with that.
Mm,
mhm,
And if someone said, well, you know how to do this? Oh, well, I know how to. No, what do you love about yourself? Like, and you got to look deep in that. And as a teen or as a preteen, you may not know how to do that. So then what we have to do? We have to teach them how to dive deeper into that, right? And
right,
all
mhm,
this takes time. And this is a part of your home training. It should be a part of your home training, right?
right,
How to
right,
love yourself. And so
right,
that takes some time. How what you love about, not what you love, what do you love about what you do? Because
mhm.
as a I know, growing up as a young adult, that's what we did. Well, I do this. So I love
Yeah,
that I
it's
can
all
do
about
this.
that.
But
Yeah,
that's not who you are. That's
right.
not who you are. What do
Mhm,
you love about yourself? Like, what is it about you, and not who you want to be?
mhm.
About who you are now.
Right.
What do you love about yourself now? And then we can build on that, and then go into what would you like to be, or what
Yeah.
would you want to be as a person, right? Not, and so our teenagers are looking on social media, and we do too.
yeah.
Everybody's life is better,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Social
Yeah.
It's
media.
it's a
Everybody's life
curated
is
life, right?
better.
Everybody's life
I
is perfect.
mean, I have to check my post sometime because I'm like, girl, that's not everything that's going on. But you can't put everything out there, right?
Yeah.
But everybody's life is better. But sometimes I have to say, okay, it's always a story behind this picture. It's always a story, and it's not your story, so you're not supposed to know it. But our teens don't get that, right? So everybody has a boyfriend, everybody but you. Everybody has getting
Mhm.
A's and B's, but you.
Yeah.
Everybody has the story, but nobody's teaching that teen how to create their own story, right? For
Mhm.
themselves. And so they have to love themselves, like love every bit of you, like the dirty parts, right? That you want to change. And
Mhm.
there are some good parts. And if we start by teaching them, we can find those good parts. And then they'll know what they have to offer. Because once they start learning to love themselves, like really know their value and their worth, like
Mm,
women are doing now in their 30s and 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Once we start doing that now with those kids and those teenagers, then they'll look at who they're trying to love in a different light.
Mhm.
Okay, does that person really deserve all that I have
Mhm.
inside of me?
mhm,
Not
mhm.
that I'm fine, not that
Yeah.
I play sports.
Yeah.
I'm so much more than this. And they
Right.
can learn that. If they can learn, because I look at those video games and I don't even know how to turn it on. It's so much stuff. And if they can learn how to do that, they can learn how to dig deeper into who they are and how to learn the value and worth that they have inside of them.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you think about instead of the because you can tell your child or your children, I love you, I love you, I love you, and then it can become words, just words that you say routinely, and they know you love them. But telling them what you love about them.
Mm-hmm.
So they can start getting used to, oh yeah, I have this value. I'm good at this, or I'm kind-hearted, or whatever it is that you love about your child, telling them that so they can get that start about, what they love about themselves, because there's enough out there to beat them up all day long, every day,
All day long.
online, in the public. Like, I love my hair now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never wore it natural as a kid. I always putting relaxers on, trying to straighten it out and all that. But if I had known, I had no idea. But I love it now. I wish I had known sooner to try or do something. It's a part of me. Yes, it's a physical thing, but I hated it. And that's a part of me. And hating my hair, hating my skin color, hating whatever I hate about me makes me not love myself. So if
Right.
we could just put those words in to our children so they can start somewhere, help them to do that.
Right, and everything is visual, right?
Right.
Above me, beautiful, and I have to look at
Yeah.
this so many times, a day for myself. So everything is visual. So if we can start, and it all goes back to taking some time, right? Taking some time out. We're all busy. We all have all these things. Everybody's on a schedule. The children on a schedule. We're on a
Right.
schedule, but we got to take time because they need this. And
Yeah.
it all goes back to taking some time. And if you need to make a visual, okay, this is what you love about yourself. And we're going to go into loving them as well later on. But this is what you love about yourself. How does
Right.
that look?
Right.
Let's write how that looks.
Mm.
And I don't know if y'all remember a movie or a series where she had all those sticky tabs all on her mirror to
Mm-hmm.
remind her of all these things. I taught my daughter how to do this.
Yeah.
Put the sticky tabs about all these things, who you are. And I was trying to try it at the high school, but we just didn't get it started. But get those visuals, what that
Mm-hmm.
looks like. I like the way, the color of my eyes. Okay. Well, and what does that remind you of? Looking at your eyes, what do you think of when you look at yourself? What do you look at your eyes? Well, I like the way, I like that I make people laugh. Now, how does that make people feel, you think, when you make people laugh? How do you feel when you make people laugh? And
Yeah.
write those things down so that they
Yeah.
can see those things. And so
Mhm.
I don't know what are on teenagers' walls now because I don't have a teenager, but
Yeah.
instead of having whatever those things are on that wall, have those things. And
Right.
that's intentional, right? You have to be
Mhm.
intentional about that. You have to
Yeah.
take some time and do that. And so those things that they can see, if you have to put it on their mirror, if you have to write it for them while they're telling you, because let them participate in this and put
Mm-hmm.
it in the mirror. So when they see every day, when they go get up and brush their teeth and stuff, that's what they start off with
Yeah.
before they probably after they open up social media, because we all know we look at social media as soon as
Right
we
away.
and open up and put one step,
First thing.
put out the we say our
Yeah.
prayer first, and then we open up social media. Before they leave for school and they see that mirror, they know they said that. That's nothing that their parents said about them. That's what they said about themselves. And so
Mm-hmm.
make it visual for them so they can see it themselves every day, every
Yeah.
day.
Mhm.
Yep, could not agree more.
Yeah.
It's that's the talk about like having a vision board and those kinds of things.
Mhm.
But the other piece I want to just go back to real quick, Bridges, is talking about the role as a parent, right? And as you said, definitely can't say I was perfect at any of that, but learned it along the way. But from the standpoint of we are kind of more the guide than anything else, and that's
Mhm.
that. I want to go back to that again because even in this part, I think our role as a parent is to ask those questions and to put those things out there so that the child, especially at a teenage years, can start to self-discover the things. So in other words, it shouldn't be me, the parent, telling you what you're good at or what's special about you, but what I can do is help guide you to discover and realize those things for yourself. And I think that because
Right.
you're going to get the most value, I think, out of having that self discovery part happen.
Right, because they don't know the questions to ask themselves, right?
Right.
They
Mhm.
just know about what they see, the physical, right?
Right.
What kind of clothes they wear, how their hair is
Yeah.
done,
Right.
how their nails are done, what have you. They
Right.
don't know the deeper questions, right? Their personalities,
Mhm.
Mhm.
they just know just the surface. And so we
Surface
can
level.
guide them, like you said, in just getting those questions out there, not
Mhm.
answering them for them, but getting those questions out there. And that's where we can guide them.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Definitely, definitely. Number 5, Please, and this is one of my girls, and one of my students as well. Please don't compare me to my older or younger sibling.
Mm.
Mm. First of
Landmines.
all, disclaimer: we're human. But teenagers compare themselves to others daily. That's a
Mhm.
given.
Yeah.
In the classroom, on social media. I mean, even in their families, they may not say anything, but they know, okay, my brother did better than me, my sister did better than me. Oh, I know my brother or my younger brother, my younger sister, they're acting out, and I'm not like that, or I am like that. So they need the pressure off of them when they come to you or when they're at home or by their parental guidance. They may see a negative pattern, like I said, in their siblings, or they may see a positive pattern in their siblings, and tracing their siblings. But as a parent, it's easy for us to say, "Oh, you're gonna be just like your brother," because he was doing that same thing when he started. And then I can say that, and I can say, and I'm apologizing.
Right.
I have done that same thing with my younger and older children. You sound just like him, and I would
Yep.
call his name or whatever,
Yep.
or her
Yep.
name or whatever. So it's easy for us to do it, and that's why we need that minute. We need that step away time
Mhm.
before we address, and that is so important right now for ourselves. When we start to think about things we need to do, we have to step away from it for a minute and kind of think. And we need to do those same things with our teens, because it's easy to compare them because we have that experience, right? As a parent, we have that experience with that older brother or that younger sibling, so we already see the signs, right? So it's easy for us to say, "Oh, he was doing just the same thing you're doing. I hope you don't be like Charlie and bringing them bad grades at home," because it's easy to just come out, right? Because that's what we're
Mhm.
thinking.
Mhm.
But and this is ideal a situation, but we're on here to give out these nuggets, right? So that they moving forward, this is what we can do. Find one great thing about that team and
Mhm.
explore that, and enlarge that, right? Hey, because the conversation has to happen. I know
Agreed.
I know your older brother was making bad grades, but you do great in spelling. Like you can spell really well.
Mhm.
So let's do this. Let's talk about what you like about this. How can we help? How can we help you get better in math? We know that's a weak point, but and we know your brother, we know your sister, whatever. But how can we help you find something they can do, and then expound on that,
Mhm.
and then let's talk about the other issue that you're having, that your brother had or your sister had or your younger sibling had. And then if it's their brothers and sisters did something all great and you're not doing great things, let's find something great about
Mhm.
them and then expound on that, because it's never competition. I'm going to tell you, there are plenty. I know from just knowing people, there are plenty of people out there still in their 40s and 50s competing against their brothers and sisters,
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
having that broken relationship with family members because they've always felt like they had to be better than them. Because it not only felt like it, the parent vocalized it.
Or
Yep.
there was
So,
the silent favorite that it wasn't spoke about, but the action showed it.
Yeah.
I
Actions speak
think
louder than
parents
words
need to
always, right?
check themselves.
Yep.
Check
right.
yourselves. Look at how you're acting with your children. And I only had one, but I have experiences that I know from my own childhood, but where there's that silent favorite and they can't do any wrong, even when they do wrong.
Yep. Yep. I
I,
want to go back to a comment real quick, Bridget, and this was from earlier, and it says, Elizabeth said, leading by example. And I want to bring that in here because what we're doing, and I'm speaking from the parent's chair here, is
Mhm.
when you start comparing older, younger siblings, you're placing a judgment, essentially,
Right.
is what you're doing. So if you are starting to place judgment on your own children, sharing, your different thoughts and comparing and that, you're teaching them a behavior because you are technically the leader in all of this, right? So if you start to use judgment as one of the things to separate, divide, show the differences between.
Mhm.
What do you expect that they're going to start to do as they continue to develop? Because you're
Right.
laying the road down for them already. So be very careful with that, because that judgment can really come back to bite you.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And
Mhm.
you'll see it. You won't say it, but you'll see it. And it
Hmm.
will be one of those aha moments. Well, I deserve that one. I deserve that one. Definitely by example. And individuality is key here. It's key. Because they compete against each other and they don't, you can see it in everything now. In
Mhm.
everything. Competition was just sports at one time. Now it's in
Mhm.
dressing, it's in
Yeah,
talking, it's in
everything.
how many boyfriends you could get or girlfriends. I don't know what it's called. It's a number. Yeah, I mean, so I'm like, well, when did that start? Compare how many boyfriends back in my day, it was not popular. Didn't have that. but so now they compare themselves as anyway. So as a parent, we got to like step back for a minute and then say, okay, that was their brother, that was their sister, but this is them,
Mhm.
and
Right.
then treat them as such. And they need to
Right.
know that. They need to
Right.
know that. And like you said, the silent favorite one. Now I had
Mhm.
5. So I don't know if I treated any of them like they was favorite. I didn't really have time to be trying to figure out which one was the favorite. I know which one was doing this and which one was doing that. But we do as parents, and it's real, sometimes pick that one golden child, right? And we don't say, oh, you're such my golden child, but we can,
No.
the other children can tell who you favor. So we need to not compare them because they feel bad enough of trying to compare themselves to other people
Mhm.
outside of the home. At least at home I feel special.
Yeah.
Hmm.
At least
Yeah,
at home I'm treated like an individual who I am.
yeah.
And
That's
that's
their
the
safe
safe place.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the safe place.
Yeah.
Yes. So number 6. Whew, this is a hard one.
Mhm.
Don't make judgment calls based on your negative experience.
What? I'm sorry, did you say something?
This is a hard one, right? Because all we see is what we've been through,
It's our
right? As
experience,
a
what we
parent,
know.
that's all we know. Like we
Yeah.
see the storm coming, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have to protect them from the storm, right? Because we've been in the storm.
Right.
So it's like, what do I do? Do I just stand back and let the storm just take them over, right? But there's a fine line between judgment and a teachable moment.
Right.
Hmm.
It could always be a teachable moment. One time I had a dream that something was going to happen. My daughter, I think, was sleeping on this ledge or something. And I kept saying, "You're going to fall. You're going to fall." And they were like, I know what I'm doing, and I was like, okay, you're going to fall. And I never said, okay, so when you fall, this is what's going to happen. So if you fall, this is what's going to happen. Instead, I kept saying, well, get out because
Mhm.
you're going to fall.
Right.
I never said why. Just get
Mhm.
out, you're going to
Yeah.
fall. I had this dream. And it's the same way, it's a fine line. We can make a judgment call or we can make it a teachable moment.
Right.
Correct.
And when my girls were telling me this, well, I just want them to stop judging me because I'm not them, and I know what happened back in their day, but it's not me. That was them. And I didn't respond because I know what they're saying, but on the flip side of that, they know what can happen.
Yeah.
But that is a battle right there that you have picked.
Yeah.
If you start having that conversation about what you went through and what they're going through,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
battle that you have picked.
Yeah. I
Um,
think we all remember that as a child. Those stories. Back in my day, I had to walk 20 miles uphill in the
Oh my
cold weather
Right.
to
Well, I'm not
school.
trying to walk there. I'm trying to go with
I'ma
my
catch
friend.
an Uber.
I can take an Uber. I'm not trying to walk 20 miles to school. I won't go. That's the kind of mentality teens
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
now. So we have to stop thinking about what happened to us and what
Right.
happened because it's valuable. Wait, it's valuable lessons. Valuable. The experience brought us to where we are today. But they weren't there, so they
No.
could care less,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah, and they're so wise and their life is different. The world is different. So having the conversation with them is important because their circumstances surrounding them are different than what we had.
Right.
We had ours.
Totally different and so much scarier. That sometimes we don't even have that experience. We hadn't even had that experience.
We don't
But
even know what they're talking
we
about,
try
right?
to equate it to something that we know because that's our natural instinct as a parent. We trying to equate it to something we know so we can give it, so we can make that call, right? That judgment
Yeah.
call.
Mhm.
But we can't because that's what they see. They don't see the teaching moment. They see you just judging them.
Yeah.
You're just judging them. That's all they see is, well, yeah, I knew if I told you, you was gonna say,
Yeah.
instead of having a conversation, a teachable moment. Okay, you want to do this. So tell me, what do you think is gonna happen when you do this? Or and they may have a great answer, but let's move further. Okay, so if that happens, okay, but what if this happens? Then what are you gonna do? Because you know you're gonna be responsible for that, right? And
Yeah.
so let these things soak through, because if you're yelling and telling them about 20 years ago, they don't hear anything but I am about to do what I said I'm about to do because I'm
Yeah.
about to do that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's all they hear. So we
Mhm.
have to get that time, have that time with them where we can have that conversation with them so that we can help them help themselves basically, and not be right. If I tell my mama, all she gonna say is, well, when I was, what happened to me, I told you what happened to me, that kind of thing. And then we brought it, and now we made it about them, about us,
Them
right?
instead of them, right?
Because that's where we go to, right? We
Yeah.
feel the hurt all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
I was talking to him and I was doing everything he told me to do. And then all of a sudden we remember how we was doing it, right?
Yeah.
And what happened to us. So we have feelings about what happened to us way back
Yeah.
in high school. So now we're putting off on them what happened to us. It's
Right.
not the same. It's not
So
the
different.
same.
It's way different. Yeah.
Way different. So,
Way different.
let's have that conversation about choices, decisions, right? And definitely consequences, bad or good.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
definitely have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Agreed.
And our last one, oh my God, I love this one. And we just talked
Oh,
about, I mean,
yeah.
you just talked about that a little bit,
I
right?
didn't even think about the slide. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Tell me that you love me.
Yeah.
So the Bible says love covers a multitude of sin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And it's true. It's true. And what you said, Mina, it was just following along with in the same line that what I was going to say. Let's have a conversation about what we love about them.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Mhm.
it's easy to say, oh, when you get out the car, I love you. When you're going for the bus, I love you. When you get off the
Mhm.
phone, okay, well, don't forget, I love you.
Mhm.
I love you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Let's sit them down and talk about what we love about them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me that you love me and tell me why. Because somebody else is going to tell them they love them and not going to act like it. And they don't know what that
Hello.
looks like. They're not going to know. They just know that word LOVE. And every time it comes out, oh boy, that means something good. But if
Mm-hmm.
the
Mhm.
actions don't line up with the word, then we just never, as a teenager, we just never know what love is then, right?
And I know this could be extreme, but maybe not. I text you 50 times a day because I love you. I hit you because I love you. Even though that common sense, hitting me doesn't mean you love me, but along with the
Yeah, I
compassion.
hit you because I want you to act right
Yeah,
because I love you. I just want you to act right. I just
yeah,
want
Mhm.
you to be
yeah,
this. I know you
yeah,
can be.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
you can
Mhm.
be that person.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So if we tell them that you love them. I love you
Mhm.
because I love you because and one of my girls said, I just want to know that you love me and why. Like, why you love me. And
Yeah,
isn't that a awesome thing to think about, especially when you don't know what you love about yourself, and
you're right.
somebody else is telling me why they love me. So then
And
that
it's
makes
all,
me think about why. I mean, that part of me that you
yeah,
love.
yeah, yeah,
So have a conversation. Sit down. It's all intentional, right? Sit down and
Mhm.
have a conversation about what loves me, what loving them means to me. I
right,
love you because of this, and this is what it means to me,
right,
right? And then
right.
the discipline won't be so harsh to them,
Or even
right?
when I was talking about hitting, I was talking more about domestic, like
Yeah, that's what I'm
someone
talking
who.
about.
Oh, okay,
That's what
okay,
I'm
okay,
talking about.
okay.
Domestic. I'm hitting you
So they
because I
know the
know because
difference.
I want you to be right because I know you.
Yeah.
I just want us to be good. You know, I
Yeah.
want us to be good
Yeah.
together.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
was just trying to stop you from leaving. I wasn't
Mhm.
trying to hit you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
I
hit
I was
wasn't
you.
trying to
trying to hit
control
you, hit
you.
you.
I
I
wasn't
didn't
trying
hit
to
you.
control
I
you
wasn't
with
trying to
text.
control you. I don't call you, I don't
I
call
don't
you
know where
bad
you are.
words. How am I verbally abusing you? I'm not calling you bad words.
Yeah. And
I'm
when I
just
put
telling you
that
how you act
tracker,
sometimes.
and when I
Right?
put that tracker on your phone, I just wanted to know where you were at
Because
all
I
times to make sure
care
you
about
were
you.
okay.
Because I care about
Love.
you. Right? So tell
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
that you love them. And then this is the parent's
Yeah.
responsibility forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does not stop at teenager. I
Mm-mm.
say that because I have grown children. It does not stop. Why you love them. Like
Mhm.
and then tell them what loving them means to you. And that is
Mm.
going to have we're going to have to show them vulnerability then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
Yep.
isn't easy.
That's what love does. It
Yep.
shows vulnerability.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
When my student was telling me all these things that were happening with her mom and how she had took all these things away, and then the last thing she said is she said my grandma said that my mama was crying,
Oh.
and I said, do you know why? She's like, cause she mad at me, cause I hurt her feelings. I said, and you know what else? She's scared,
Yeah.
right? Loving you probably means I'm scared. Like I'm
Mhm.
scared of what's out there for you. If
Mhm.
I let you go outside, I'm scared that what's out there for you. If I let you keep your phone based on your action right now, I'm
Mhm.
scared.
Mhm.
And so it brought on a whole meaning to this punishment for her because her mother loves her and she's scared. Like she wants her to be her best self, but she's scared.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we try
Absolutely.
to, we have to show them the vulnerability and we have to be more vulnerable enough to show them and tell them why we love them.
Yeah.
That's what love does. I mean, it makes us vulnerable. And so we have to, the same vulnerability we have in our personal relationships
Mhm.
when we don't have a problem telling them why we love them and
Yeah.
what they mean to us and what's so good about them. Let's do the same way with our
Our
teenagers.
teens.
Yeah. Could not
And
agree more.
that also goes into the trust too. Being
Big
you
time.
trust to be vulnerable around them, right? You trust them with that vulnerability. And the
Right,
kids
Mhm.
need to see that. The children or the teens need to see that and know what that even looks like, you know?
right.
Mhm.
And you're telling them you love them, yes, but and you're also they're able to let them see you emotional or having that tears. I know as a parent, I had a hard time with that because as a single parent, I got to be strong. I got to take care of this child. I can't let her see me weak,
Mhm.
because I need her to know that she got this strong person behind her. But later in life, I realized that that was missing, and that was important and that she needed that.
Mhm.
So it was a lesson for me, but I only had one child, so I wouldn't do it differently because I don't have anyone to do it differently with. But,
I can
but
say I don't know. I can say, and I don't know because I probably cried a lot because I cry when I'm happy and I'm sad. But just in raising my kids as a single parent,
mhm.
and five individuals with five individual
Woo.
personalities and actions and things that they were going through and having to step in on those things,
Mhm.
I showed a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah, that's good.
um, because it was just overwhelming. And I mean, my kids know me as a crier and they know when things are bothering me and they know when things are not good. And so I showed them this is hard, y'all. And, this is hard.
Mhm.
And so I showed them this is hard.
Mhm.
Let's do this because that's hard. Let's change this because this is hard for me. And I
Right.
didn't put it all on poor mama, but this is hard for
Yeah.
us to
Right.
do
Right.
this. So
Right.
let's do something different because this is hard. And
Right.
so we have to show that vulnerability,
You do.
we have to trust, show them that we trust them with that. And in
Right.
turn, they can trust us with theirs.
Right.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, very true. I think trust is the probably one of the biggest key factors in all of this, right?
Mhm.
Because if you want your, especially at teenage years, to really open up and to share and to be honest with you, they have to
Mhm.
trust that the hammer is not going to come down every time
Mhm.
that you're technically going to side with them more
Yeah.
often than not. That builds
Mhm.
that
Right.
trust, and then also
Mm.
that it's not going to get shared everywhere else
Right,
too.
right.
You're not gonna go out blabbing their business and this,
Telling
that,
the
and the other.
auntie and the grandma and
Right,
everybody else. Yeah.
right, exactly.
I
That you
I know
hold
with
some
my
of that
kids now, they have to tell me, don't say nothing. Because I used to be like headquarters, family headquarters, right? I knew everybody's stuff. So you gotta, I knew I had discernment. I knew what to not say to people, but you
Mhm.
gotta tell me, like my kids, you gotta tell me, don't tell them because we're
Right,
family, right? So we help
right.
each other solve problems. So I'm gonna say
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
So you gotta say, well, don't say anything to the
yeah.
rest of the kids or whatever. But my girls in my program and even the students at my school, they
Mhm.
know their word is safe with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Unless
know.
it's going to harm themselves or others.
Mhm.
I mean, my mouth is shut. I'm
Right,
not telling anybody. My kids, totally different because we're in a group,
right,
So I need them. I need somebody else to know so that someone else knew,
right.
and so we can help you go through this. But you have to tell me not to say anything. But out of the household, it's safe.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that outside the household.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So, like I
absolutely.
said, I only had seven. Seven is a number of completion. I could have went so much further because when they were giving me so much information, I was like, we need to do a weekly check-in because there's some stuff going on. And then one of them like, we do need to do a weekly check-in. I was like, okay, I got that on my planner now. Because they had a lot of discussions they wanted to have.
Yeah. So, Bridget, what are your final thoughts as we kind of wrap this up for today?
Um, I will tell you, parents, that I am speaking from knowledge and experience, right? Um, so everything that I do in my organizations come from life experience as well as knowledge that I've picked up throughout the years and being an educator and a director and a clinician. The things that I noted at the beginning. But as far as our organization, you can like us on Facebook, Building Bridges Outreach, Mentor and Outreach, and also on Beautiful Girls. We're on Instagram on Beautiful Girls underscore 2018. We have created a BU curriculum that we're actually mobile now and going out into the community teaching the BU empowerment sessions. And also this summer we'll be launching myself and my family. It's a family affair. We'll be launching Building Bridges Mentor and Outreach Program with a summer back to school bash.
Awesome.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much, y'all, for letting me be on this forum and talking to these parents. I talk a lot and I believe wholeheartedly in everything that I say. So if it came from me, it's real.
Right. Well, this has been very good, and as I said, we thank you for taking the time to come on and share your experiences, put it out there, and I think everything that we've talked about today is very important for building, as you said, building bridges, right, between the parent and the teen, and the foundational pieces, as I said at the beginning of this video, are the communication that needs to happen and how that gets delivered, and then also the trust that builds, because those are going to be the two pillars I think of it all that are going to make the difference, along with obviously the love and how you show and express that. So those are the
Right.
keys I think that needs to be there. Amina, what do you want to share with Bridget before we wrap up?
Bridget, this was awesome. I absolutely love this one. Sometimes you can do these lives or videos or whatever, and you might be interested in the subject, but you're weighing in and out or whatever. But this was from beginning to end, great topic, kept me engaged and interested. And I hope that we had more audience than just the people I can see here, because sometimes we do, but they don't comment or whatever, or they'll
Mhm.
watch later, because this is really important. And you did a wonderful job, and hope to see you come back again, give us some more information, because our teens and children are important, and we want to do the best we can for them. So thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to coming back again.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, Bridget, thank you again for joining us. We will do this again for sure. We'll find some additional topics, and as you said, new learnings to come. You're starting a new program there in Houston, which I think is going to be awesome, especially in starting to include the boys and the girls as part of it. So I think you're going to turn over some new soil, learn some new things that you can probably come back and share from those experiences as well.
And
So
I just want to say, I have a Nacogdoches program as well. So I'm doing it in Nacogdoches and Houston. I don't want to forget them. I will never hear the end of it. My girls in Nacogdoches and my volunteers, I have to say a shout out to them because they are so pivotal in getting this together in Houston and in Nacogdoches.
Awesome. Well, amazing. Well, Bridget, thank you. We will see you soon.
Thank
And
you.
again, time very well spent and great information shared today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Well, Mina, what are your final comments and thoughts as we wrap up the session for today?
This has been just a great session, and Bridget gave us really good information. And so we've all been teens at one time, and the topics that she gave us, or the points that she gave us, the talking points, would have been nice if we had them when we were, or someone to tell our parents when we were coming up as teens. So,
Yeah.
and after you've raised a child through being a teenager, some of these become evident, and you wish you could go back and change some of them, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
So I want to say that, I hope we get a lot of readers or viewers and podcast listens, and so people can learn and have this great relationship with their children. I keep saying
Could not
children,
agree
I
more.
mean teens.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that.
Yeah.
So great session today. As I said, Bridget's information was on point. Definitely brought back some of those things. As you said, as a teen yourself, and then as
Yeah.
raising children, it kind of resonates with you. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
I was good at this. Wasn't so good at that.
Yeah,
We're not perfect. And as we talk about all the time on this channel, even though we may share some of the knowledge and experiences that we've had, doesn't mean we're experts at any of it. We're
No,
we're
no,
we're,
no.
we're living and learning day to day.
Mhm.
But I think the more things like this that we can share, put out there in the community, so that they can continue to self-develop, be better, be stronger, as Bridget says, build those bridges. I think that's going to be the value that we'll continue to bring. And with that said, if you did find value in this, what was shared today, and all the topics and different things that we talked about, please be sure to like this video and also share it. So if there are other people, or family, friends, people in your circle that you think could benefit from hearing this message, absolutely share a link to this video so they can check it out. And then over on YouTube, while you're there, be sure to click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of the new episodes as they get posted, because you'll get a notification when those come out. So we look forward to seeing you then. Mina, I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Until next time, everyone, take care, be safe, and aloha.
Aloha.